Hello, everyone, and welcome to AIOU's very first Invest in Women video campaign series. My name is India Ashok. I'm a neuropsychologist and the Director of Communications at AIOU. Today, we're talking to Dr. Nazia Memon. She is an academician, a DEI researcher focusing on women in the workplace and workplace inequality. She's also an assistant professor at SJIM in Bangalore, and she's going to talk to us about her insights about Indian women's current position in the corporate workforce. Thank you very much, Nazia, for making time for us today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Let's begin first with a little bit about yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came into the academia and how you came to research women in the workplace?
All right. Yeah, that's a very interesting story that I would definitely like to share. So after my master's, when I was doing my MPhil, I was looking for a research topic, and I was always gender inequality because I didn't have vicarious experiences because I had very first-hand experiences at what gender-based inequality is. Coming from a very small town, a hamlet, a sleepy hamlet somewhere in Odisha, in a community where women do not go out of their houses and work. Let aside moving to a different city and having an identity. So with all those background, that deep desire to make a difference, in 2016, I came across an article in the Times of India about World Economic Forum's report. And this report was on the Global Gender Gap Index. And India's rank out of 142 countries was 136. I repeat, out of 142 countries, India's rank was 136. That was the starting point of me realizing I need to start working or contributing towards workplace gender inequality. So that's how I started with my MPhil project, that translated into my PhD project, that translated into various other projects where I have worked on women in workplaces, senior leaders, the identity tension, how do they tackle, how do women drop out, and what do they do, what are the defense mechanisms. So all these things that I've studied, career break in women, especially most of the women that I have interviewed, the career break was because of maternity, and a few of them were trailing wives, and these were the major reasons women took career breaks. So this has been my body of work, resulting out of a deep desire to understand and solve this really complex piece of why do we not have as many women as men at workplaces.
Yes.
That was a long story short introduction.
Thank you. And it's really commendable that it shows this sector, not just to understand, the point of view, what challenges people face in India, but also to kind of help women further their journey into the workplace. And on that note, I'd like to understand your insights about what you think are the key factors contributing to the current underrepresentation of women in leadership roles in India, and how do you think this can be addressed?
Now, thank you very much for that question, India, because we have been so stuck on this question of gender equality in terms of number that we never go beyond number of women at a workplace. We do not do an analysis of women in different hierarchies. Definitely, the number of women who enter the workforce, maybe thereabout, are equal. The ratio is not that bad. If we just talk about gender equality in terms of representation numbers, but as you see women climb the hierarchy, it's a very leaky pipeline. There are about 40 to 50% in some of the sectors, if especially if I have to quote IT, the number of women to men are thereabout equal, but look at the number of women in senior leadership roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's barely 10 to 15% women in senior management roles, and let aside the CEO roles, just 5%, if I have to quote a
Yes.
report. So definitely there is a problem. Now, where is the problem that is we really need to focus on? If you see the journey of a female, of a woman at workplace, the personal milestones and professional milestones go hand in hand. The age that she's entering a job is also the age she's getting married.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
A few years into her middle management, her opportunities to enter the middle management role, it's when she has a first child.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And as she's climbing, if she sustains the entry level, reaches the middle management positions, and as she's climbing that ladder towards senior management role, kids are growing up, they're teenagers, then maybe they're boards, they're at a very career deciding point of their lives. Women need to further look into the families. So this overlapping of professional and personal milestones has made this journey very full of friction, very steep for women. That's just one side of it, and
Yes.
one challenge. Now, how do we address this challenge? I'll just quote of one incident when recently I was at a conference which was exclusively for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we were discussing on how do we make workplaces conducive for the life changes that a female goes through. And so one of the points that I raised was we do have a maternity benefit act, and we give maternal leaves, and really evolved organization also give paternal leaves. But what happens after that 6 months or 12 months once the female is back? Is,
Yes.
is that 12-month-old baby capable of working, sustaining without a mother while she's away from office, away from the home? Now, the question the rebuttal that I got from one of my corporate friend was, till what extent can we, as an organization, support a female? There should be some end to it, and the answer is to every extent possible, because we need to create a healthy future. If we cannot create a healthy future by supporting the mother, we are not really doing good in our capacities.
Of course. Yeah.
Organizations heavily need to understand that their role doesn't end by saying, okay, we gave you 6 months or take 8 months. It doesn't end there. What is the infrastructure that you are building around that female? We are just scratching that mind, very finely scratching the surface with one maternity break that almost a lot of women go through. And
Yeah.
what happens after they come back? So that is the second problem.
Yeah.
uh, Women goes on a maternity break. If she immediately joins after 6 or 8 months, good enough. If she has taken a break of a year or 2 years, all hell breaks loose on the
Yes.
male when she has to prove that, excuse me, that 2 years did not, she has not forgotten everything that she did just before the breaks. For years, something that she has built,
Yeah.
upskilled, honed, she has not forgotten that. Women, and there is a maternity penalty that women go through.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
They are given positions that was lower even to the position they were working on before. The salaries are lower. They're upfront said that be happy that we are giving you a job.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
that's what organization, we all of us need to understand that we have a skin in this game. Having women on in our organization, it's not, we are not doing a favor, and that's
Exactly.
most of
Yeah.
the
It's
organizations do not
nice
and
contribute to the overall business outcomes and the financial gains that the organization brings in. And
yes,
trying to create an environment that is conducive to their performance is not cost, it is investment.
absolutely right. So that's where organizations need to be a little more sensitive towards, little more mindful towards. When we talk of diversity, it's impossible to have a diverse workforce without an inclusive culture.
Yes.
So that's where the focus of the organization should be. So the second problem that we reached at, women, why are they not reaching, is the personal and professional milestone overlap. Second, if we talk about a maternity break, the infrastructure and logistics that the organization should provide is goes beyond just a 6-month leave or or crutch, a physical, creating a physical structure, calling it crutch. It just
Yeah.
goes beyond that. So a whole mindset shift is needed in the industry, in all the industries, to have more women in workplace. So I just take one detour in explaining one concept.
Sure.
We talk of diversity. I'd just like to elaborate on what are the two types of diversity. So when we say we need more women, we need more people with physical disability, we need more people who are of different race, color, age. We are all talking of surface level diversity.
Yeah.
Everything is visible to the eye, but that does will never translate into any business returns if that's our sole focus, is that we are looking for business returns through diversity. We need to understand diversity from the deep level aspects of diversity, that we want diversity because we are getting attitudinal diversity.
Yes.
We need diversity because we are getting a cognitive level of diversity, we're getting a cognitive level of diversity. So those are the two diversities anyone who is working in this area should know of. And I would like to use this platform to disseminate this knowledge of surface level diversity and deep level diversity. We're not looking at the low hanging fruit of having more female in workplace. That's very surface level. Let's take a deeper step in understanding what is deep level diversity. What is that perspective that a female brings onto the board? Lots of research, lots of studies, lots of reports have proved how organizations solve it, how organizations brand value increases, its goodwill increases, its
Yes.
fraud, occurrences of fraud goes down, and many more outcomes when the organizations have more women in the senior management role and more women in the board. So that's what we need to, through this platform, need to voice out. Coming on to the third challenge. So the third challenge, uh, excuse me, has to do with the female. The
Yeah.
organizations are blamed. Uh,
Yes.
the laws are blamed. Now it's time we also need to sensitize females, women in the workforce, for them to not get very complacent in their journeys. Especially in my studies with women after career break, uh, that 6 months translating into 1 year, translating into 3, and translating into 7 is
Mhm.
just that phase of complacency that they enter into.
Yeah.
Maybe many of them are not aware that, the thought is like, okay, yes, we'll go back. Of course, thousands of reasons why they are staying back. The lack of support, infrastructural support at their homes, the society literally sitting on their conscience and
It's a
punching all
very
wrong
high
buttons. Not as a
cultural.
mother, your child will not grow as good as when you're 100% present at home. All of us agreed that's a battle altogether at a different level that a female goes through. But then maybe this realization that you owe it to yourself. The female owes it to yourself, the next generation. But before that, you owe it to yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, just being a little more mindful of that comfort or complacency that one may enter into, and then taking that proactive step of going back to the work is excuse me, is what I would say the three pronged uh, approach to this problem of the three challenges. Of course, there are way more challenges, but
Yes.
these are the three main I would highlight.
With regards, it's very interesting that you bring up the third aspect of the primary challenges for this, as you know, the complacency factor for women. I just like to ask you one more follow-up question regarding that, because it just occurred to me. Do you think it also is, or rather, how much do you think, especially when it comes to Indian women, given that we come from social cultural backgrounds where being confrontational, standing up for what you want, especially as a mother, you're supposed to be selfless. Your motherhood that role is supposed to be come first and all of that. Do you think that angle of standing up for yourself, putting yourself first, is also a challenge? And how much of that do you think contributes to becoming complacent as well?
Absolutely, that's identity tension. I think a lot of women, I think even I, when I was not even married, I went through that identity tension as I introduced myself and the background I come from. I did not have a role model. I still do not have role models in my immediate community, in my family. So I do not know how it is to be a working wife, how is it to be a working daughter-in-law, how is it to be a working mother. So
Yeah.
that's one challenge that I have thoroughly faced. And I'm talking and circling back to the topic that we're discussing, women in senior management. They have a very strong negative identity tension when they're constantly torn between, if you are in a leadership role, your organization needs you. Maybe you have to spend 17 hours on a project. Maybe it's time to deliver, and that's a time when someone else in your house needs to own it up, to take care everything about taking the reins of the household. So that's a tension, even if you know that things are well taken care of, but that guilt of
Yeah.
not being present
Yeah.
and that someone else is taking up your position is something that comes naturally, yes, because of our societal, the social construction
It's
that
conditioning.
the social conditioning, the construct that we are a part of, it by default we enter into those kind of tensions or guilts. So how do you ease realization of that? Okay, uh, this crisis or this tension is a part of every woman who is trying to do two things.
Yeah.
And we never say this statement for men that they're trying to do two things, because they're just
Exactly. Because that's normalized for them, right?
yes, they're just at the work front. So this, absolutely, this identity tension is one of the reasons of being a little complacent, delaying the comeback, and that delay becomes becomes a penalty for a lot of women, and there are a lot of research on career breaks. Now here, if I have to tell what how do we solve this puzzle and uh, uh, this
I think that
problem.
given the fact that now we're in the post-pandemic future of work world where there's like hybrid work settings and remote work settings, do you think there are some innovative strategies that experts like you can identify, or patterns that you can identify that could help address and come up with actionable solutions?
Okay, now work from home work arrangements, hybrid work arrangements are great. I don't know if they're going to stay or not, but they should stay because it is allowing so many more women to come to be a
Yeah.
part of the workforce. Even the MSME industry, uh,
Yes.
they do not, MSME industries do not have a very structured HR practices, but still this pandemic just pushed everyone to the brink of some possibilities of working from home. And
Mhm.
now this women contribution of women in that pool of workforce in MSMEs is also going up. So definitely it is pro DEI, I would say. Now the challenges, tons of them. One of the challenges is sometimes the lack of visibility uh,
Mm.
impacts the performance appraisal, which impacts the career growth, which impacts your climb of your career trajectory, which impacts again women in senior management roles. So it is all the dots are
Very
connected.
cyclic kind of. Yeah.
Exactly. So the role of the organization is to nip it in the bud. The sensitizing, it's sensitizing the whole organization and all the people in the performance appraisal roles to be mindful of not letting their unconscious bias to creep in
Yeah.
into performance review and performance appraisal. So that's one big piece. Second is organization support is very important, and more than organization support, the managers support is extremely crucial
Yeah.
for having a sustainable hybrid workplace where women are, we need to keep this momentum up, more and more women entering the workforce, because that's the dividend soon we will be a youth dividend country, and if we do not create infrastructure and logistics around women, we are going to be a big time loser on being whatever visions India has for itself for the
Yeah.
next 50 decades. We really need to tap on this potential that we so far have been not tapping at 100% efficiency. So yes, that is work from home. Two big thumbs up from me. But we need to create systems around it in the organizations.